And joining us right now is a congressman for the Republican Party representing California's 4th Congressional District. He was in the chamber last night for the State of the Union. And also, by the way, Representative Tom McClintock holds the singular honor of receiving my vote for governor over Arnold Schwarzenegger during the recall effort against, the successful recall effort, I should say, against Gray Davis. Thanks for joining us, Congressman McClintock.
Well, thanks very much. So you're the one.
I'm the one. Exactly. Hey, you did better than Ariana in that election. Let's not forget. Congressman McClintock, you're on the Budget Committee. You are a sage voice about fiscal matters. I wonder if you saw anything last night that raised your eyebrows and made you think, oh, okay, Mr. President, how are you going to pay for that?
Well, you can start with the whole speech. You can start with the last 7 years, and unfortunately, this speech makes it very clear that the 8th year of his administration is going to be no more successful than the last 7. He spent an hour telling us that 7 years of economic stagnation are actually this phenomenal recovery, that our collapsing healthcare system and skyrocketing premiums are just a figment of our imaginations, that the world has never been more peaceful and stable.
Yeah, in fact, Congressman, let me play this quick passage and you can respond directly. Here.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
There you go. Oh, and you heard your Democrats there applauding. So are you peddling fiction to us right now because we have a public trust here to only tell the truth?
Well, I think in that passage, he and his Democratic followers in the House and Senate illustrated just how completely out of touch they are with the realities the American people are living. You know, the thing about the economy, you cannot spin it. People are living it every day. They know from their own experience how the economy is doing, and they have lived through 7 years of continuing stagnation because of these policies. And as I said, he made it very clear he's got no intention of changing those policies, and so it's going to be another very difficult year for Americans. The only good news I saw in our situation is, although 2016 is going to be a very difficult time, it's also going to be a decisive time, and the greatest opportunity in my lifetime, certainly, for Americans to rise up at the polls and set things right.
I mean, the whole tone and tenor of his statement there for a while was about, I don't really expect to get much done, but I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to stick my hand out, and I'm going to try to work with the members of Congress to see what we can accomplish in this last year of my administration. And he talked about the divisive tone of politics in America today. I don't know how you could sit there without rolling your eyes at some of those comments last night.
Well, as he set up one straw man after another, accusing Republicans of everything from peddling hate to wanting to carpet bomb civilians. That's not the way you reach across the aisle. Every year I've hoped that Obama would have done what Bill Clinton did in 1994 after he took the drubbing in the congressional elections, realized that his policies not only were not popular, but they were not working. He reached across the aisle to Republican Congress. They didn't necessarily like each other, but they accomplished some miraculous things for the country together. They cut federal spending by 4% of GDP. They attacked entitlement spending, as Clinton put it, ended welfare as we know it. They enacted what amounted to the biggest capital gains tax cut in American history. They balanced 4 budgets in a row. That's what a Democratic president reaching across the aisle to a Republican Congress was able to accomplish. Unfortunately, Barack Obama is a very different individual, and I don't think that he is intellectually or emotionally capable of doing that.
Our guest is Congressman Tom McClintock of the 4th Congressional District in California. You a moment ago you said that it's time for the American people to rise up at the polls and make a change. And yeah, I mentioned your run for governor purposely because I would love to get your opinion on something, Congressman McClintock. I remember at the time that this was, and for those that don't know, there was a recall effort for Gray Davis, who was just a disaster for the state of California. And then based on the Constitution of the state of California, there was sort of an open free-for-all election to replace him. And that's when Arnold Schwarzenegger ended up becoming the governor. Congressman McClintock, you were running, and I remember very smart people in the state of California saying, yeah, McClintock, he's got the experience. He's been in Sacramento. He knows what he's doing. But Schwarzenegger's the celebrity. He gets all the attention, so he's going to get my vote. When you look at the Republican primary right now, and we've got some very smart, very experienced politicians who are running, who I'm sure you're ideologically aligned with, and then you've got the phenomenon of Donald Trump, who also is speaking to the people. I wonder your opinion on how things are shaping up right now here 3 weeks away from Iowa.
I think the process will sort itself out very nicely. The constant refrain I heard in 2003 was, well, we're going to split the Republican vote. If there are two Republicans, you've got to get out because you're not the celebrity.
Yeah, they were begging you to get out.
The point I made is, people are smarter than that. They're going to, our entire form of government is based on the assumption when people are actually focused and paying attention, more than half of them make a good decision more than half the time. And there on the left coast of California, by the end of that campaign, between Schwarzenegger and myself, 2/3 of the California voters went with the Republicans. Only 1/3 went with the leading Democrat candidate, Cruz Bustamante. So you could literally have split that vote any way you wanted. The Republicans still would have won. Why? Because people were paying attention. They knew that the state was in deep trouble, and they were listening very carefully to the candidates, looking beyond the claptrap of political commercials, looking beyond party labels and actually hearing what the candidates were saying. Arnold Schwarzenegger was very careful to say exactly the right things, but as I looked at the positions he'd taken in the past and the advisors he had around them, who were very, very liberal, I didn't believe it. And that perhaps should be a warning to all of us as we look at at some of the campaigns within the Republican field.
And I certainly think that there's probably some parallels in America right now where the people seem to be, both Democrats and Republicans, seem to be very disgusted with what they're seeing in the political environment.
But far more importantly, they are engaged. They're actually carefully listening and watching. That's when they make very good decisions. The elections, I fear, are the ones where people aren't paying much attention. Things are going reasonably well or just reasonably poorly. They don't pay a lot of attention, and that's how we drift off course. This time, I think people realize our nation is in serious trouble. This feels an awful lot like 1980. You remember how frightening those times were, and we're there again. And we're watching the American people engage, and I think they're going to exercise very good judgment at the polls this November.
Very sharp analysis, Congressman. Thank you.
Yeah, Representative Tom McClintock, an important voice from the Golden State. See, we're not all crazy out there in California. And I'm not ashamed to say that I come from that state now.